Bet you weren't expecting this video so soon. In the last video, I talked about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And then I hinted at the fact that I might do a Spider-Man villain ranking. Yeah, this is coming out like 3 days after that video, and I'm already done. I wrote the list like 10 minutes after I finished that video. My number one is not exactly popular, but we have villains. Let me count them. I forgot how many there are. I counted 16 Spider-Man villains and across all the movies. So we're talking Raimi, Mark Webb. I just realized his name is Mark Webb and he directed Spider-Man movies. I just realized that. Raimi, Webb, and then we got Holland, and then we got these things, these ones. So, 16 of them, and yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So, I looked at a list. I only looked at one, and then I counted the rest. This villain is, for some reason, counted as a villain in the Spider-Man universe. But there are some villains left out of that list. But I'm so thankful that Vulture from Across the Spider-Verse is counted instead of some other villains that I will get to later. Do you remember him in the movie? He is not that, like, I would not count him as a villain. Yes, he did bad things for 5 minutes! Maybe a little bit more than that. It's a very long movie. I would not count him. Do you know what the worst part about all this, though? Is that he was ranked number 7 on the 14 villains on that list. Number 7. This guy was ranked above Electro and the Lizard and Venom. What the actual heck was wrong with them? He is not a villain. He's just a mere warm-up appetizer, which is what the list called him. That description was nothing but rude insults towards the character. But yet, at least he's still better than Venom! Sorry, that was very loud, but I get emotional. Let's move on. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is actually a very, very, very good movie. I don't know why, but I really enjoy it. I always, when I watch it, like, I'm always thinking, like, wow, this is so underrated. This is actually good. Why did we need 4 villains in that movie? Spider-Man 3 showed you that you can have those villains. But this guy shouldn't count on anyone's list. Rhino was in the movie for 5 minutes at the very end. What? Like, did they think it was fun? Did they need Rhino in the Spider-Man universe now? I get that he's a Spider-Man villain, but why? Why is he here? There is no reason for him to be there. Other than, oh, well, fan service over here needs Rhino in the frickin' movie. Because why shouldn't he be? He's the best Spider-Man villain. He didn't do anything threatening. Do you know why? Because when a villain shows up at the very end of a movie, it is not threatening. I am not threatened unless you throw in a to be continued, which this movie did not do because it's the last movie that Mark Webb has directed. The last Amazing Spider-Man movie. We moved on 4 years later. It was 2 years later. Whoops. So that is why. There's no. He didn't do anything threatening. He ranks higher than the Vulture because he was actually because like he actually endangered someone. The Vulture didn't do anything. The Vulture's existence shouldn't like. This guy is not warranted for his existence. But I don't understand why the Vulture was counted in any list. So I guess Rhino is more of a traditional villain than Da Vinci Vulture. So sorry I got a little mad, but let's move on. So this guy is also, this is one I had to add to the list because I only looked at one list and he wasn't on here. So, but he's not really a villain, more of an antagonist. So we really shouldn't count, but I'm going to do it anyway. The only reason Miguel O'Hara showed up on this list is because he did, in fact, harm the heroes. He did try to slow Miles down. But, to his defense, he did have a point. So he did his job very well, but since, he doesn't really count as a villain, I have to rank him third to last. But even though he comes from a movie that is incredible. But luckily, the other villain on this list is really good. Well, let's just go to that. I'm sorry, I don't really have anything to talk about. You get mad at me if I didn't throw it on, but you're going to get mad at me when I put him at this low, So, even though I ranked Miguel lower, I still think his plan was better than the Lizard. But the Lizard is an actual villain, so I had to count him higher. But the Lizard is just ridiculous. Let me turn the city into lizards. Why is no one talking about this guy? He's trying to turn the city into lizards. Is no one questioning this? Am I going insane? How does, I guess Amazing Spider-Man is very forgettable, but still, I think everyone just looks at this villain and says, yeah, he was pretty nefarious. I mean, he actually had a good plan. No, he didn't. No one remembers him for the plan. They remember him because he turned himself into a freaking lizard! His plan is stupid. This movie's stupid. But this isn't even my least favorite Spider-Man movie. This is my second least favorite. And it's still a 6 out of 10. How do they do that? They're just so gosh darn amazing. Thank you, Mark Webb, for creating this absolutely disgraceful villain. Make villains with good plans. Which is what they did. Same thing here. Even though I ranked the Little Lizard lower than this character, I still think that the Lizard's plan was still more sane than this character. How? He wants to turn the city into a lizard. I need Peter Parker's blood in order to survive, so I'll kidnap Gwen Stacy. The only reason that this guy's higher than the Lizard is because I actually felt threatened. Good Lord! Finally feeling some threatening presence from a Spider-Man villain. What? I would expect that going in. But the Rhino didn't do that, and that was in the last 5 minutes. And I still felt a little bit threatened because he can harm the kid. What? So, yes, it's very stupid. And I don't know who the voice actor is, but I hate him. I hate that guy. I don't know, but his voice is so whiny. Like, Peter, give me your blood. Venom might be the coolest looking Spider-Man villain. I'm not sure. But, that guy looks amazing. When he's separated from Eddie Brock, he looks amazing. Remind you, we're talking about the main Spider-Man movies. This is not the Venom character, So, this is from Spider-Man 3. Who's stupid? His entire motivation with Peter Parker is because he took the job from me. So let me team up with this other guy who has a legit problem with him. Kinda. Actually, no, not really. Not that I'm thinking back. But Venom is really good looking, and it's always a treat to see him. No, not really, because the guy who plays him is also someone I hate, so... Can we just move on? You know why Venom sucks. Don't you know? Electro. Yeah, Electro is on the bottom of that list I looked at. And, I get it. No one likes Amazing Spider-Man 2 except for me. It's amazing. Go watch it now. If you have a bad mindset of it, go watch it now. It's actually really good. Why there's not a camera in here? Why am I looking at the microphone like I'm talking down to someone? I don't know. Also, my mic actually isn't structured like this. There's actually not anything here. I actually have to talk from down here, and it gets louder. So I can't through the barrel. It's still very loud, but it'd be louder if I talked like this. But I still think this looks better. Just has that whole vibe to it. So, but it's still very loud. So, what was I talking about? Electro? Yeah. What's his motivation? I want to be friends with Spider-Man? Again, this is a guy who has a terrible plan, but at least I felt threatened. The villains coming up had a legit plan and were threatening. These villains are just either threatening or have good plans. That's why they rank above some of each other. Let's just go with those. Like you know why Electro's okay. I like him better because he's in a pretty good movie. So I never really connected with the character of Sandman. I mean, like, he has a plan. He just wants to see his daughter. But he has beef with Spider-Man because he got beat up by him. Spoilers for later, but Doc Ock is an amazing villain. Okay? He had a good plan and was threatening. He had beef with Peter Parker. He had beef with Spider-Man. The villain is intriguing when they have beef with both sides of the character. It's so easy to have them connect in some way. Why can they not be connected? So yeah, this guy is actually pretty, like, a decent villain. Like, the way he gets Thanos snapped is weird, because they're going to take place a lot longer before Infinity War, but I feel like I'm going to get... I don't know. Let's just move on. Alright, now we're getting to some real good villains here. The first part of the video, this far, was just like, okay, well, these are just villains that are kind of stupid. Like, they're not, like, they're sometimes threatening, but they're just some stupid little cute little villains. I feel like someone's walking around a minute. What was I saying? But here we go. Big leagues. Doc Ock. And Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Don't get alarmed. How did she rank this high? She was only in the movie for like 20 minutes. I felt so much threat from her. Like, oh my gosh, she is probably the most capable human being in the entire company. Like, she doesn't need a plan because she's not the main villain. But that still makes her so much fun because we know she's not the main villain of the movie, so we know she doesn't need that big of a plan. But what she needs is some threatening action pieces. Oh, and go, they got it. They hit the mark. Into the Spider-Verse is amazing. Coming up next is, actually, I don't need to pause the video because I already know, is Kingpin. It's not a situation where he doesn't have beef with, like, the actual persona of... Well, I mean, he has beef with the persona of Spider-Man, but not Miles. Which is kind of weird. He only has beef with Spider-Man. So, but that's still weird. But he's still amazing. He doesn't need superpowers, but he is a chunk. Which makes him threatening. Which makes him amazing. Which makes the entire movie amazing. It's amazing. It's, no other word can describe Into the Spider-Verse but amazing. You know, I just can't anymore. It's fantastic. Who else thought that the Spot was going to be just the warm-up and that Miguel would be taken over? No. This one dude, with probably one of the most dumbest superpowers you might think from the start, caused a multiverse of destruction. That is amazing. He's so you don't feel the threat at first because he's just like, I'm trying to think of a good example. He's like in the beginning of a Spider-Man movie where the robber is like robbing someone and like Spider-Man takes like 5 minutes to stop him. That's what you feel there. But then he escapes and then he goes like Spider-Man and can I just say Daddy? I'm sorry, that sounded weird. Miles and his dad were going to fight him, and which is. Yeah, and then they disappear and causes the multiverse of destruction, which is just amazing. Like, that is great stuff. I always have so much fun when he's on screen. I think he sounds like a dopey weirdo like Eddie Brock, but what Eddie Brock didn't do is make it so, this is another villain. He doesn't have a connection with Miles. He has a connection with Spider-Man, and so he doesn't know. But that just still makes for such a threatening villain. He's so much fun. So, my least favorite Spider-Man film is the first one. It just feels so slow at some point. And I've never really connected with any of the characters. Except for the Green Goblin. Oh my gosh, this might be the scariest Spider-Man villain. Like, he's just so scary. Like, they did not have to go this hard with this character. Spider-Man 2 is an infinitely better movie than this one. But, because it really fleshes out more of the characters. So the only one I really feel attachment to in the first one is the Green Goblin. He is so threatening. It's amazing. I don't even have to rewatch it. Like, actually, I probably do have to rewatch it because I actually don't understand the beef with them. But, it's the first movie. They don't really have to know anything. They'll still make a lot of money in the box office because, it's a live-action Spider-Man movie. But still, it's really good. Like, I really like the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin is easily the fourth best Spider-Man villain. But this one I was not expecting to be this high on my list. Somehow I felt more connection to the Vulture than I did with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Far From Home and No Way Home, I feel so much more connection with Peter Parker. But this one I don't get it. But dang it, the Vulture is amazing. Green Goblin might be just more threatening in every way, more scary. But what other villain? The villain is only good if they can get some good quips in. And dang it, Michael Keaton is the best actor to do that. True, Jim Carrey is the best actor there ever is, but I don't think he could pull off something like this. This is something that needs a serious dude who can also be funny. But I guess they couldn't get Morgan Freeman because he's too old. So they got Michael Keaton, who's 71. So, it's amazing. His plan works. It's another thing. He only has beef with Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man. So I guess that's why the next two work so well for me. But, yeah. It's the Vulture. It's voiced by Michael Keaton. He's amazing. But top two is where... these guys are the reason I love movie villains. So let's talk about that. Doc Ock is amazing. What other villain has a plan from the start? He's just trying to have his invention work. And then it goes all the way wrong. Where Peter Parker is, trying to help him, but it doesn't work, so he gets beef with Spider-Man. And then in the end, he learns who he really is. Kidnaps Mary Jane with an amazing climax. It's so emotional. He dies for Peter. And that's amazing. That sacrifice. It really shows that he can become a good person again, trying to get away from his arms. The power of the sun in the palm of his freaking hand. It's amazing. Spider-Man 2 is so good, guys. You gotta go watch it now. You know why Doc Ock's amazing. So, yeah. I don't really have to talk about this more, do I? You know why he's great. Wait, so who's number one again? I don't even know where to begin with Mysterio. He gets started off as this nice guy who's being nice to Peter. And then, not even halfway, a little bit after halfway through, we learn his plan. This flips the role of Spider-Man. He doesn't have beef with Spider-Man. He has beef with Peter Parker. Which is just freaking amazing. It's done so well. Why Mysterio is amazing. You just know. The plan is amazing. That reveal at the end is incredible. I feel like I have to make an entire video about this, so I'm not going to go in too deep here. But Mysterio is the best Spider-Man villain, by far. I will make a video about him. No questions asked. Best Spider-Man villain. I'm done. I'm done talking about them now. I can stop. I can breathe now. I can rest now.